Hi everybody, welcome back to Coco's Book Nook. I am Courtney and today we are going to be talking about thrillers, horrors that are set in winter or have a blizzard, snow of some sort that keeps them isolated in a cabin in the woods, stuff like that. This is actually one of my favorite, I guess, tropes in a thriller book. Like, they're snowed in, they have to survive type of situation. And a couple of my favorites are that type of book. Let's start off with Misery by Stephen King. This will always be my favorite. I guess it's my only one that I've read of Stephen King so far. I have always loved the movie. It's one of my all-time favorite movies of all time. I love Misery. To be fair, I have only read the book, first read the book last year. I know, I've loved the movie since I came out. I don't know. I think I first watched it when I was 13 and it was just one of my favorite. I love the psychological aspect of it and being in his head and being like, what the hell's going on? Am I a bad person? Is this my fault? I love that type of thriller. I love psychological thrillers, and Misery has always been my favorite. He is up in the woods, going to his cabin to write. He gets into a car wreck, and who comes along but Annie Wilkes herself, and he's locked in the cabin. And bad things happen. The book is a lot more graphic than the movie, and I loved both of them. The book and the movie are definitely top favorites of mine of all time. So if you really like that snowy setting, not being able to leave type of stuff, Misery is your go-to. Next up, let's talk about Dead of Winter by Darcy Coates. I read this last year, I think it was last year. This one is about Krista. She is on this tour in the Rocky Mountains. She is going with her boyfriend, and a snowstorm comes in. They get stuck on this road. Her and her boyfriend go for a hike in the snowstorm, and it gets worse. She loses him, and everything goes downhill from there. She finds her way back to the bus. The bus then finds a little tiny cabin, not the place they were going to, and one by one, people start getting whacked off. And I saw the thriller coming from the start, but I'm like, it couldn't be. It was good. I actually really enjoyed that. Being stuck in a blizzard is actually a fear of mine, but I also live in Montana, and those do happen here. So being stuck up in the woods, being in a blizzard, and not being able to get home, my fears in this made me more fearful, I guess. It made it all, I'm just like, yeah, no, I nope, don't like that. But it was good, and I really, really like this one. Next up, we have Voices in the Snow by, guess what? Darcy Coates again. This one, we are following Claire. Kind of an apocalyptic thing is going on in the world. It's not really a spoiler, but it kind of is. There are zombies that are out here. She's on her way to her aunt's house to pick her aunt up, and then they're going to her sister's house who has a bunker. News is going, news stations are just dropping off the charts. Everything is going down. Everybody is either becoming zombies or being trapped. And she gets into a car crash on her way there, and she wakes up in a very strange house with a very strange man, and they have to navigate this new, snowy, weirdly apocalyptic, zombie-filled life together. And it's one hell of a ride in 4 books, but I enjoyed all of them. And then we have We Used to Live Here by Marcus Cleaver. This one is the book of the year. It caught me off guard in a lot of different ways. This one is about Charlie and Eve. So this strange family comes up to their door and they're like, we used to live here. Can we look? And Eve's like, let me go call my wife. And then she felt bad because the little girl looked very, very sad and really, really, really wanted to be in this house. So Eve was like, well, Charlie said no, but I guess you can come in. And I was just like, what are you doing? You don't let strange people in your house. And I'm just like, what are you doing? And then, so she's giving them a tour, letting them look around. And then they're like, oh, we'll be like 5 minutes. Don't worry. We'll be out of your hair. And then the girl goes missing. She finds her way into the basement, down into the dummy waiter, and she doesn't come out for like an hour or so. Finally, Charlie comes home, and she's like, what, Eve? Like, there's people here. And then all of a sudden, she's friendly, they're cooking, everything is fine. The wife is like, do your parents know about you guys? Because they are queer. It is a female-female relationship. And then everything starts going off the rails. And it's set in winter. They're in the middle of nowhere, pretty much. Their closest neighbor, I can't remember, but I want to say like half a mile. And she is off the charts weird as well. And it just kind of keeps going more crazy as the book goes on. And I absolutely love this book. Next up, we have This Is Where We Talk Things Out by Caitlin Marceau. This one is about Miller, who had a falling out with her mother. Her mother is very, very narcissistic, very, very needy, and absolutely will not leave Miller alone. She has cut ties, she's changed her numbers, everything, and her mother is like a parasite and keeps coming back. So she goes, all right, fine. Let's go on this weekend together, try to reconcile. Mom, I'm getting married and I really want you to love my wife. And so her mother's last-ditch effort was to take Miller on this getaway to this cabin that she bought in the woods. And when Miller walks in, she's just expecting a random cabin, you know. She walks into her childhood home. Everything is the same but the house. Weekend gets weirder and weirder and weirder, and there's a snowstorm that's happening. They get stuck out there, and this one does not have a happy ending. Just so you're aware. I can't tell you much because it's just a novella. I don't think it's even 100 pages. And it's definitely got misery vibes, and I loved it. There was definitely some nitpicky things in this one. We also have The Writing Retreat by Julia Bartz. This one is about a young author who is invited to an exclusive writer's retreat that soon descends into a pulse-pounding nightmare. Alex has all but given up on her dreams of becoming a published author when she realizes a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity: attend an exclusive month-long writing retreat at the estate of the feminist horror writer Rosa Vallo. Even the knowledge that Ren, her former best friend and current rival, is attending doesn't dampen her excitement. Things start going off the wall. People start disappearing. People start dying. There's mind games. There's a whole lot of stuff that is going on in this. And once again, we're in the middle of nowhere in a cabin and it is snowing. Are they going to get out? Who lives? Who doesn't? Who doesn't? Like, this one was not my favorite. I think I only gave this one like 2 stars, I believe. 3 stars. I gave it 3 stars. It was definitely not my favorite one. It was a little too much in a couple senses, but it was overall, if you're looking for that isolated setting, people start dying off, this is definitely one for you. And then to start off with books that I have not read that are on my radar that I would really like to read because of these settings. First up, we have Rock, Paper, Scissors by Alex Feeney. This one is things have been wrong with Mr. and Mrs. Wright for a long time. Every anniversary, the couple exchange traditional gifts, paper, cotton, pottery, tin, and each year Adam's wife writes him a letter that she never lets him read until now. Self-confessed workaholic and screenwriter Adam Wright has lived with face blindness his whole life. He can't recognize friends or family or even his own wife. And Amelia is sick of feeling unseen. While Adam and Amelia went a weekend away to Scotland, it might be just what their marriage needs. They both know this weekend will make or break their relationship, but they don't randomly win this trip. One of them is lying, and one of them doesn't want them to live happily ever after. I can't remember where this one is set, but it was on a list of snowy, wintry, isolated settings. So I'm actually excited to get to this one at some point. And then going into the ones that I don't own but are on my radar, let's start off with The Unwanted Guest by Shari Lapena. This one is a weekend retreat at a cozy mountain lodge. It's supposed to be the perfect getaway, but when the storm hits, no one is getting away. And then we have The Hunting Party by Lucy Foley. A group of college friends are snowed in at a hunting lodge and murder and mayhem ensued. All of them are friends, but one of them is killer. Next up, we have The Girl in Cabin 13 by A.J. Rivers. When Emma finds a dead body on her porch with her name written on the dead man's hand, she uncovers a sinister clue to the mystery that has haunted her since childhood. FBI agent Emma Griffin is sent undercover to a small sleepy town of Feather Nest to uncover the truth behind the strings of disappearances that have left the town terrified. The premise of this one just sounded really, really interesting, so I'm excited on this one. Next up, we have One by One by Ruth Ware. This one is getting snowed in at a beautiful rustic mountain chalet. Doesn't sound like the worst problem in the world, especially when there's a breathtaking vista, a cozy fire, and company to keep you warm. But what happens when the company is 8 of your coworkers and you can't trust any of them? And then we have No Exit by Taylor Adams. A kidnapped little girl locked in a stranger's van, no help for miles. What would you do? Darby Thorne is a college student stranded by a blizzard at a highway rest stop in the middle of nowhere. She's on the way home to see her sick mother. She'll have to spend the night at the rest stop with 4 complete strangers. Then she stumbles across a little girl locked inside one of their parked cars. There is no cell reception, no telephone, no way out because of the snow, and she doesn't know which one of the travelers is the kidnapper. Who is the little girl? Who has she been taking, and how can Darby save her? This one gives me Identity vibes. If you've seen the movie Identity, which is one of my absolute favorite movies of all times, this gives me those vibes. I'm excited for that one. And then we have The Overnight Guest by Heather Gudenkoff. A woman receives an unexpected visitor during the deadly snowstorm in this chilling thriller. True crime writer Wiley Lurk doesn't mind being snowed in an isolated farmhouse where she's retreated to write her new book, A Cozy Fire, Complete Silence. It would be perfect if not for the fact that decades earlier at the very house, 2 people are murdered in cold blood, and the girl disappears without a trace. As the storm worsens, Wiley finds herself trapped inside the house, haunted by secrets contained within its walls, haunted by secrets of her own. Then she discovers a small child in the snow just outside. After bringing the child inside for warmth and safety, she begins to search for answers, but soon it becomes clear that the farmhouse isn't as isolated as she thought, and someone is willing to do anything to find them. Next up we have I'm Thinking of Ending Things by Ian Reid. Oh, this one is a Netflix show. That one's kind of cool. In the smart, intense literary suspense novel, Ian Reid explores the depths of human psyche, questioning conscience, free will, and the value of relationship, fears, and limitations of solitude. This one doesn't really give much about it. I'm thinking of ending things. Once this thought arrives, it stays, it sticks, it lingers, it's always there, always. Jake once said, sometimes a thought is closer to truth, to reality, than an action. You can say anything, you can do anything, but you can't fake a thought, and here's what I'm thinking, I don't want to be here. I think this one is about a couple, and I think she doesn't want to be with him anymore, but there was something about family. But it sounded intriguing, and I'm kind of excited. It's only 241 pages, so it's not long. Next up, we have Five Total Strangers by Natalie D. Richards. A hitched ride home in a snowstorm turns sinister when one of the passengers is plotting for the ride to end in disaster. And then we have The Winter People by Jennifer McMahon. West Hall, Vermont has always been a town of strange disappearances and old legends. The most mysterious is that of Sarah Harrison Shea, who in 1908 was found dead in the field behind her house just months after the tragic death of her daughter. Now in present day, 19-year-old Ruthie lives in Sarah's farmhouse with her mother, Alice, and her younger sister. Alice has always insisted that they live off the grid, a decision that has weighty consequences when Ruthie wakes up one morning to find Alice has vanished. In search for clues, she is startled to find a copy of Sarah Harrison Shea's diary hidden beneath the floorboards of her mother's bedroom. As Ruthie gets sucked into the historical mystery, she discovers that she's not the only person looking for someone that they've lost, but maybe the only one who can stop history from repeating itself. Those are all of the books that I have read, and I have at least liked or have this setting, and ones that are on my radar, and I'm excited to get to some of these. So thank you for watching. I will see you guys in the next one. Bye guys.